Hi, I'm Rita Wilkins, also known as the Downsizing Designer. So today I want to talk to you about something near and dear to my heart because of my own downsizing journey, just to share some of the experiences that might help others. So today's topic is the truth about decluttering and downsizing, what no one tells you, but you need to know. So when I look back on my own downsizing journey, there are so many things that I didn't know that I wish that I had at that time. And while I did get really good at figuring things out over time, it sure would have made it a lot easier had I known what I know now. So today's video will tell you the truth about decluttering and downsizing, what no one will tell you, but you really should know if you are on that journey yourself. So with the ever-increasing popularity of downsizing, decluttering across all ages and demographics, it's important for you to know what to expect before you embark on a life-changing decision like that. So if you are considering a decluttering and downsizing journey and want to know more about the good, the bad, and the ugly about this process so you can be better informed, please listen to the video to the end because you will learn from my successes as well as my mistakes. So the good, the surprising benefits of downsizing and decluttering not just my home, but my entire life. So after I decluttered and downsized, one of my biggest surprises was how simple my life had become. Having broken free of that burden of clutter, a home filled with way too much stuff, my smaller environment was organized, it was peaceful, and I knew where everything was. So living in a smaller home with much less stuff just made sense. So I had more time, I had more money, more freedom to do all the things that I'd been wanting to do, but didn't have the time to do. And so I could then focus on what really mattered to me because nothing was holding me back. And I was finally in control of my own life rather than having all of that stuff control my life. I had all I wanted, all I needed, and frankly, I've never been happier and have never really looked back. So I also realized how little I actually needed. And that was the funny thing because I thought I wanted or needed all of that stuff, but now the quality of life is just so significantly improved. And the only question I had was, at the time, was, why didn't I do this sooner? So the bad, and there certainly were some things that would be in that category, and that was the daily challenges that you face during the downsizing and decluttering journey. And note that some of these challenges actually became real-time opportunities because every day I could learn something, grow, and become stronger in that resolve to live that simpler life. The first one was the emotional roller coaster, the uncertainty and the fear of the unknown. So each day seemed to bring on a new emotion, whether it's overwhelm, stress, but then peace, or fear and sadness, and also joy, or indecisiveness, decisiveness, and then clarity. So at any given moment, I was filled with self-doubt. What if I need it someday? How can I possibly let go of this thing that matters so much to me? What do I need to stay motivated when I really want to quit? Or is it worth all this time and effort? Those were all some of the questions that I asked myself almost on a daily basis, and you never knew when or where that would generate tears or joy or laughter. So acknowledging these complex emotions is really critical to the entire journey and its success because they're perfectly normal, and anyone who is downsizing or experiencing some of these, just go with it because it's just part of the process. So whether it's your reason for downsizing and decluttering is to save money, to live a simpler life, or to have more freedom, it's important to shift your focus to one small area, like a drawer or a shelf, and make one small decision at a time. So this mindset is actually magical because it helps you get unstuck so you can move forward. And now the ugly. So what not to do when you're downsizing and decluttering. And I think this is really important because they were lessons that I think if I had known then, I probably would have circumvented them, and maybe not completely, but certainly tried. So trying to do it all at once. So this is not only impossible, it's probably just not very wise, because if you take the time up front to create a plan and then implement it over your project over one area at a time, you can set realistic goals, set realistic timelines and intentions for where you're going to live and what kind of lifestyle you want. And then you're also going to have to plan where do you want those excess items to be donated, repurposed, or to be thrown away. The second one was trying to do it alone. So after an exhausting month, my first month of decluttering, of crying almost every single day, I realized I needed a team and to accomplish such a large task. My sisters and family just jumped right in as soon as I asked, but it took me a while to realize I really need to ask for help. And having support allowed me to implement a workable plan, a workable schedule for everyone. And we also had fun during the process. Just the laughing, the crying, the memories that were made and the memories that we had just sharing, as we were going through things. The third thing, part of the ugly, is bringing too much stuff to your smaller home. So I was moving from 5,000 square feet to 867 square feet, and I did declutter by 95%, but I still brought too much stuff. So trying to pack too much stuff into your smaller space is really a big mistake. You have to be mindful of having less space, less storage, so that you can make more thoughtful decisions about what you can obviously bring. And then the next one is waiting too long to downsize and declutter. So I delayed my physical move by probably about 5 years when I look back on it, which was way too long because it led to unnecessary stress, both financially and just emotionally, having to care for all of that stuff. So I wasted a lot of time, money, and freedom because it was tying me down. So living with less has actually added years to the quality of my life. And another point on this about waiting too long, as a baby boomer, we certainly don't want our kids to have to deal with all of our stuff once we're gone. So what I probably didn't spend too much time thinking about at that moment was, I was giving my kids a gift of not having to deal with all of that stuff like I did. And then the last ugly part was continuing to accumulate more. So breaking that cycle of buying more is essential to living a simpler life. I had a habit of buying. Every Friday night I would go out to, someplace and go buy stuff because I was lonely, and retail therapy was my way of having a good time. Well, obviously that's short-lived, and I wouldn't recommend it for anyone. So learning to say no and understanding what your relationship is to wanting more is so important if you want to live a simpler life and if you want to find contentment of having enough and being enough. And that's part of the journey, is just realizing, why do you shop? What's missing in your life that is causing you to go out and buy stuff. So there are a number of misconceptions about decluttering and downsizing. And the first one is that decluttering is stressful and overwhelming. So I'm not going to deny that it is somewhat stressful and overwhelming. And while there's certainly an element of that and letting go of your possessions, when you have the right mindset and the willingness to let go, that's the key, the willingness to let go, the process can actually be quite smooth, enjoyable, and even fun. And then the second misconception is that downsizing is for extreme minimalists. I would hardly call myself an extreme minimalist, but I'm living with 5% of what I once owned, which was way too much stuff. So downsizing isn't about extremes. Minimalism is about living a more balanced life with only the things that you love and also serve you in this current moment and that make you happy. So there are 5 top secrets that I have for successful decluttering and downsizing. The first one And we talk about this all the time. Just start small. Rather than trying to do the big things, just start small. Complete one area at a time, and that will build momentum and motivation because you're going to see small successes, and then that ultimately becomes a bigger success. The second one is to sort and categorize. So when you have your 3 piles, the keep, the donate, the discard, the process will help you be more intentional and decisive. And you do, over time, build up a muscle, a decluttering muscle, and a decluttering mindset. So when you're willing to let go and when you start in this process, and you just get better and better and better at it. And number 3 is to acknowledge the emotional aspect of decluttering and downsizing. Letting go really can be very painful, but remember that the memories are not in the items, they're in your heart. And then number 4 is focus on clarity and freedom. So who doesn't want more freedom and clarity about what you want in your life? So a clutter-free home lets you focus on what matters most. Relationships, the personal growth, things that you're passionate about. And then the last one is decluttering your mind. So downsizing and decluttering it's almost as much about decluttering your mind as it is decluttering your stuff. So it's not just about decluttering your space. It's about achieving that mental clarity and surrounding yourself with the things that matter, the things and people that matter most to you. And then the freedom that comes with decluttering and downsizing is available actually to anyone, regardless of your age, your income, your lifestyle. It's not just for minimalists. And so anyone who wants to live that simpler, more meaningful life can have it. And if you just remember that downsizing and decluttering is not just about getting rid of things, it's about living a life that's aligned with what you value and what your goals are. It's about freedom, clarity, and simplicity.